Hello, and welcome to the webinar on the public comment on the Family and Social Services Administration Home and Community-Based Services Waiver Renewals. I am Holly Wimsatt. I am the Director of the Bureau of Disability Services, which is a bureau of the Division of Disability and Rehabilitative Services, which is part of Family and Social Services Administration. So welcome. We'll move right to the agenda. Today, we are going to, of course, do welcome and introductions, and I am joined by another BEADS team member, Heather Dane, our Chief Program Officer. She's conducting the slides for us today, so thank you to her for that. We're going to give an overview of public comment, some waiver renewal background information, an overview of the renewals that we're going to be talking about today. I will share the renewals timeline and talk about the webinar dates, and then also provide some additional resources. The Bureau of Disability Services issued a public notice on the intent to submit the renewals for the family support and the community integration and habilitation waivers, as well as the 1915 B4 waiver fee for service selective contracting program with our federal partners at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for their consideration. And that is the vehicle that we use for case management on the family support and community integration and habilitation waiver. These webinars are designed to assist individuals, families, and other interested parties to understand the process of amending a waiver, renewing a waiver, how to make public comment, and also provide a high-level overview of key changes. So let's start with what is public notice and comment. So this references that proposed rule, policy, or guidance is published and open to the public. It occurs prior to submitting amendments or renewals of waivers to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services that we'll refer to today as CMS. And that is our federal partner that, again, reviews amendments and renewals for our home and community-based service waivers. This public notice and comment ensures that stakeholders or interested parties have the opportunity to review, to share their thoughts, their concerns, or ask questions as part of the public comment process. Now, why do we do public comment? Well, it is required by federal law, and you will see the federal citation on your screen. It's 42 CFR 441.304E and F. Federal law mandates 30-day notice to ensure timeliness. And very importantly, your comments are valuable as we develop and implement changes in our home and community-based services waivers. It gives us an opportunity when you share comments to change areas of the proposed renewals prior to submitting them to our federal partners at CMS for review and approval. And it allows the community to see what we are planning and share support or concern. So we welcome any comments during this public comment period. If there's something that is working out well, we want to hear that. If there's concerns, we want to hear that. And I want to assure everyone that we look at every public comment that we get. So please know those are the reasons for the public comment, and we do review them. So now you know why we have a public comment period. Let's talk about why, as an interested party, you should take the time to provide public comment. So it is the best way for our agency, Family and Social Services Administration, and the Division of Disability and Rehabilitative Services, and the Bureau of Disability Services, to hear your concerns and your thoughts. Your comment assists us in creating services that are meaningful and effective for the individuals that we support. The comments and responses are all posted after the renewals are complete. So again, we look at every comment, and those comments and responses are provided as part of the posted as part of the renewals. So let's talk about what is a waiver renewal. So renewals to home and community-based services or Medicaid waivers require approval, as I mentioned before, by our federal partners at CMS. CMS requires a 90-day review period for their review of what we submit, and that is the same with any state that is amending or renewing a home and community-based services waiver. CMS states submit, CMS has a 90-day review period, and then they have 90 days to approve or disapprove of what's submitted. Now, you will note when we talk about the timeline a little later, that 90 days is a minimum number of days. So anything we are and other states are able to submit and give CMS a longer period of time to review. When we're submitting multiple renewals or amendments. So, but 90 days is the required minimum time. So where do you find the waiver documents to review? Well, public notice and renewals are made available by the following methods. There are electronic copies posted on the FSSA webpage at, and the link is in the PowerPoint, https://www.in.gov/FSSA/DDRS/4205.htm. Electronic copies are also posted in the Indiana Register, which can be found at http://iac.iga.gov/IAC/IRTOC.htm. Now, these are fairly lengthy documents, and we'll talk about in a little bit how to find what you're looking for in those documents for your review. But if you need a paper copy, those are also available upon your request at your local Division of Family Resources office or your local Bureau of Disabilities Services office. Again, these are pretty lengthy documents, so if you want it on paper, you can request that. Just know that you're going to get a lot of paper, but we're happy to provide those a paper copy if you need that. So let's talk a little bit about where changes can be found within the waiver documents. So first, each waiver renewal is posted separately for review. Within each waiver renewal document, there is an introductory section, section 1, and that section is referred to as, quote, major changes. This section reflects the substantive changes that are being made in the renewal application. Now, there's also narrative or language changes within various sections and appendices of each waiver. These language changes don't necessarily mean policies or procedures within a waiver are changing. There are also areas where language has been changed to reflect existing processes that are already in place as part of the administration of these waivers. And then in this situation, the 1915 B4 waiver fee for service selective contracting document is posted in its entirety. Again, that 1915 B4 is the vehicle used for the provision of case management services on the family support and community integration habilitation waivers. That is posted in its entirety for your review. It is not as lengthy as the renewals for the family support and community integration and habilitation waiver. So it's there in its entirety, but it's a much smaller document. But with that document, that 1915 B4, is also an independent assessment of the original 1915 B4. So we, in the Bureau of Disability Services, it has been fairly recently that we moved to the 1915 B4 vehicle for case management on the family support and CIH waivers. And this is our renewal of the initial application. So we are required to have an independent assessment when we go to renew that 1915 B4. So that independent assessment is posted with the new 1915 B4 application, and you can take a look at that. We encourage you to look at that independent assessment. It was very positive of our first 1915 B4 and how that worked for case management. There's, of course, opportunities for us to further grow and enhance case management services, but overall, it's a very positive assessment of our initial venture into selective contracting for case management with these two waivers. So that is posted along with the new application for the B4. Additionally, we have offered a series of virtual sessions and recordings in an effort to more clearly identify the more significant changes in this set of waiver renewals. Today is our last one during this public comment period for the family support and community integration and habilitation waiver, and there will be a recording posted as well. So what is currently out for public comment? Well, we've kind of talked about it, but the renewals, the waiver renewals that are out for public comment are the Community Integration and Habilitation Waiver, or CIH waiver, and the Family Support Waiver, and the associated 1915 B4 waiver fee for service selective contracting program. That's a mouthful, but it's a 1915 B4 that allows us to, that is the vehicle for the case management and allows us to selectively contract with the case management companies that provide the case management service on the CIH and the family support. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about each renewal, just to let you know what to expect in those renewals. As a reminder, the CIH support serves individuals who intend to remain in their home or community-based settings. This includes individuals that are transitioning from state-operated facilities or other institutions into community settings. And it is for individuals who meet what's called ICFID level of care. So individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities are the individuals that are supported through the CIH and the family support waiver. Some things to note about the CIH renewal draft. So we have an updated reference to the 1915 B4. Again, just referencing that is the vehicle we use for case management on the CIH waiver, and that it is a renewal. So since we have been utilizing the B4 for a number of years now. You will note revised unduplicated number of participant count in the CIH waiver, a revised cost neutrality demonstration, and then some technical changes that include revising or deleting obsolete language, provisions, or web references throughout the document. On the family support waiver renewal, again, the family support waiver supports individuals or serves individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities who live with their families or in other settings. Usually there's some additional informal supports in place. Some things to note on the family support waiver renewal. Again, updated reference to the 1915 B4, since we've been in the 1915 B4 space with case management for a while now. Revised unduplicated number of participant count. Revised waiver, reserve waiver capacity counts. Revised waitlist description. Revised cost neutrality demonstration. And again, just as with the CIH waiver, some technical changes to revise or delete obsolete language, provisions, and web references throughout the renewal document. Now, the 1915 B4 for the selective contracting of case management for these two waivers. Again, this service only impacts case management provided to individuals on the family support and community integration and habilitation waivers. And that is why the B4 is posted with these two waivers, because it only impacts individuals supported through these two waivers. Some things to note in the 1915 B4 draft: we have updated estimates of individuals served through the family support and CIH waivers. We have updated the number of case managers and their caseloads in this document. We removed language related to the transition to selective contracting. So since we've been in this space for a while, we removed that language. The last B4 that we did was our first one. So it had a lot of information in it about how we were going to effectuate that transition to selective contracting of case management. That's not necessary now, so that language has been removed from this 1915 B4 that is posted for public comment right now. And then again, as with the family support waiver and the CIH waiver, we've made some technical changes to revise or delete obsolete language, provisions, and web references throughout the document. So the timeline for the public comment posting of the CIH FSW and the associated B4. Public comment began January 22nd and it goes through February 23rd. So there is certainly still time to review those documents and offer public comment. The tribal comment period is January 8th through March 9th. The plan submission date to our federal partners at CMS is March 14th. And the planned waiver effective date is in July. So I believe it's actually July 16th, but it's in July is the waiver effective date. So just know there is still time to offer public comment, and we encourage you to do so. So this today is our last webinar of this public comment period. You can see here we did the same presentation on January 30th and February 13th, and then today, and then we will, of course, post the recording. So if you have been unable to attend or you know people who have been unable to attend, please share with them. This next slide, I'll let you know where you can find the recording, because we certainly will post that. Or if you're here or have been here in one of these webinars and you want to go back and take a look at this again, we'll have it posted for you to review or to share. So this recording will be posted at the DDRS Draft Policies for Public Comment site. We encourage you again to feel free to take a look. We will try to get it posted very quickly so that you can review it or share it with other interested parties. So let's talk now about how to submit public comment. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. First, you can email us your thoughts, concerns, support, whatever you want to share, can be sent to the following email address: DDRS waiver notice comment at fssa.in.gov. So it's DDRS waiver notice comment, no spaces in that, at fssa.in.gov. If you would rather jot down your thoughts on paper, that is fine. Then you can just mail that via the U.S. Postal Service to FSSA, Division of Disability and Rehabilitative Services. And you can put regarding whatever waiver you are offering public comment on. If it's all of them, that's okay. The FSCIH and the B4. If you just want to offer comment on the CIH, you can put CIH in there, and then note it's public comment. And our address is 402 West Washington Street, room W453, P.O. Box 7083, Indianapolis, Indiana 46207. Again, you can send that via email, or you can jot it down on paper and mail it to us through the Postal Service. Whatever works best for you out of those two methods is just fine. And we will read every piece of public comment that comes in. So we encourage you to take some time, review what is out there for public comment, share with us your thoughts, concerns, support, and share it by emailing us or by mailing us any hard copy of notes that you have, anything you want us to know. Your comments help us to develop waivers and renew waivers that best address the needs out there. So again, every comment is valuable. And please note, I mentioned earlier the timeline. You'll notice our public comment ends later this month, and it's a couple weeks before we plan to submit to our federal partners at CMS. That gives us time to review all those public comments and, make any changes if there's necessary changes in those renewals as a result of public comment. So that's why you see the gap between the end of the public comment and the date we submit to our federal partners. We need time to review and to potentially make changes to those renewals based on comment. All right, I think that brings us to the end. Again, I want to thank you for your time and your attention today. We will get this recording posted as soon as possible, and we look forward to hearing from you during the public comment. Have a great rest of your day and stay warm.